welcome to another episode of the WIT podcast. Greetings from Montana. We are on the road this week. This week episode is just dedicated to young entrepreneurs and the adults and companies that support them and believe in them. I just posted one of my Today Show blogs yesterday, and that's the topic of that article. It's called Why Grownups Should Support Teen Entrepreneurs. I talk about a couple of things in this article that I wanted to go deeper on in this episode. I talked about the fresh ideas that young people have and something that's happening this week, kind of behind the scenes at WIT, whatever it takes, but it's going to be all over social media in like an hour or so, is that there are 35 young people ages 8 to 15 around the country today that get to announce that they are winners of a Frigo Cheesehead competition that was all about investing money into young entrepreneurs and innovators. And the reason that this competition came into existence is because there is companies like Frigo Cheesehead that does believe that young people's ideas matter. And they believe that because they know what I talked about in the article, which is that young people really can bring fresh ideas, new perspectives. Sometimes us adults, we can get a little stuck in our ways. We also have, in some ways, more fears or responsibilities. We think, oh, if we take this big risk, how are we going to pay the rent, the mortgage, the car, all those things? And young people don't really have that. What they have is a fresh perspective of what's going on in their communities, their schools, and their world. But what they don't have are always companies, individuals, education platforms that say, we take your ideas seriously. So congratulations to those 35 kids who submitted those applications, put their ideas out there, and big shout out to Frigo Cheesehead for deciding to invest in them. All of us at WIT, whatever it takes, we get to work with those winners over the next year, which will be very exciting because, as you know, if you've been following this podcast, WIT is a nonprofit dedicated to the young entrepreneur. And we just are thrilled that we get to help these young people. And this podcast is also just a reminder to those of you that are working at corporations, or you maybe you're even involved in a foundation or involved in a grant making process. Never underestimate investing in the young people. I've been doing this work for 15 years, and some of the best business ideas and best pitches I've ever seen have been from a teenager or a teenager. And I am lucky enough to get to participate in some adult pitch competitions as a judge. And I'll tell you, sometimes those kids, their ideas are very creative and also very simple. And we should never underestimate the power of a simple idea executed well. And that's what we got to see a lot in the applications for this competition that we partnered with Frigo Cheeseheads on. So shout out to those young entrepreneurs with those fresh ideas and to the companies that are believing in them. Something else that I mentioned in this blog post that I wanted to touch on in this podcast episode is that whether a child can get involved in something like WIT or another type of organization, it behooves every adult on the planet to get young people immersed in real world programming, meaning what's happening in the classroom, in a traditional school classroom right now, is not necessarily preparing a young person to be successful in the real world. In programs like WIT and in corporations that support programs like WIT, there's a belief that if we immerse a young person in the doing of entrepreneurship, not just the sitting and reading about it, but the doing of it, they will gain the real world skills that are necessary to be successful in the workplace and in their community. Things like financial literacy, social skills, public speaking, being able to write a professional email, understanding the difference between platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, where we use them and why we don't use some of them. All those things are happening in programs like WIT. And if you are an adult out there that works with young people, try to get those kiddos into real world experiences, because that's where they develop resilience and grit and fortitude, whether it's because they get to do real world problem solving, which isn't always happening in the classroom. So this podcast, I want to wrap up right here because I want to dedicate the rest of this podcast to some of the winners of this competition so that you can understand a little bit better what it is I'm talking about by actually seeing and meeting, in quotes, young people who are doing whatever it takes in their communities. They are utilizing their creativity for good, and no doubt will inspire you. So wherever this podcast finds you today, I hope it finds you doing whatever it takes and making it a great day. And if it's not a great day right now, you can turn it around by doing an act of kindness or by continuing to watch this episode because you will be inspired, no doubt, by these young people. All right, everybody, keep doing WIT.
Hello everyone, it's Julia from Hitting the Wall, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for this money. We will use it to continue empowering girls from across the globe, and it just means so much to me when adults take teen entrepreneurs seriously. Thank you so much.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood.
I'm excited to share the news that I was selected as a winner of the recent Frio Cheesehead competition. This means I get to meet other young entrepreneurs and work with WIT. Do you know what WIT means? It means whatever it takes. WIT is an organization that helps tweens and teens develop leadership skills through entrepreneurship. My business is Growing Up Garage. It is a nonprofit organization that teaches kids about tools. With the prize funds, we will be able to organize more Growing Up Garage workshops. These workshops will teach kids about useful tools and help shape their future. I want to give a huge shout out to Walltech Designs and the creative team for help making this happen. I am so grateful for this opportunity. Make sure you follow Growing Up Garage on all the platforms. And don't forget to follow me, Kaden Johnson, as well. Thank you so much for WIT and Frigo Cheese for making this all possible. I am officially a cheesehead.
Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, some days you wake up and nothing works, you feel surrounded. Gotta give your feet some gravity to get you grounded. Keep good things inside.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Do WIT podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment with your takeaways. And if you want to join WIT, you can check out our summer classes at doingwit.org, and maybe we'll see you on the podcast and in our classes. Keep doing WIT.
It's okay.